Well, do you want to hear the real story from Vlad from Robinhood about what happened this week with GameStop?
No way.
Uh, sure, go for it.
Yes. Okay, guys, I'm running on not very much sleep at this moment because yesterday, just before I was going to bed, I see a tweet from Elon Musk saying that he's going on Clubhouse last night at it was like 10 p.m. Pacific time, which was 1 a.m. for me. So I was like, guess I'm staying up late tonight because I had to be there. Elon Musk, being in the same chat room as Elon Musk on Clubhouse. That's a crazy opportunity. And for those of you who don't know yet, Clubhouse is this new kind of social media app where you can basically join these chat rooms with all sorts of different people covering all sorts of different topics. But the opportunity to be in the same room live with Elon Musk, I couldn't miss out on it. So I stayed up late and I listened to the whole thing. And it was amazing. And at the very end of it, there was this incredible surprise where, the host was basically just saying, okay, like, thank you so much for your time, Elon. Do you have any final last words? And then Elon just kind of pauses and then he says, well, do you guys want to hear what happened with GameStop stock? And I was like, no way. I was not expecting this at all. And sure enough, I guess Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, was in the audience of this Clubhouse. And so he's bringing Vlad on stage right now. And then he goes,
Vlad the Stock Impaler.
Hey, guys.
Vlad the Stock Impaler, and then laughs because I feel like Elon, as crazy of a guy he is, he has a lot of fun. He has a lot of fun with stuff like this, and so I think he thought that was really funny. But anyway, let's see what Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, has to say for himself about what happened last week.
The people demand an answer, and they want to know the details and the truth.
Yep. Okay, so let me start by giving a little bit of background. So I'm the chief executive of Robinhood. Robinhood's actually a.
Just go on.
I'll go through this quickly. Don't worry. This is important.
So here, Elon's like, yeah, we know. The thing about Vlad and the thing about what he did last week in his interviews, if you saw him interviewing with different media outlets, was he just didn't come off as somebody that was being very clear or transparent about what had happened. When you look at some of the other interviews that happened with CEOs of other brokerages, they were very clear about exactly what happened. They basically pointed the finger at the clearinghouses. They pointed the finger at the plumbing of the actual financial markets and said that because of our clearinghouses, because of the DTCC, they basically forced our hand and stopped us from being allowed to let our customers trade those stocks. But Robinhood didn't really say that. Robinhood was being very vague and opaque about it, saying, we didn't have a liquidity issue. No one told us we couldn't stop trading those shares. We did it ourselves as kind of this preemptive measure. So everyone's like, but why do you have a different story than all the other brokerages right now? It smells bad. It doesn't look good. So I think what Elon's trying to do here is he's trying to give Vlad this opportunity, this chance to say, okay, man, just give it to us straight. Tell us exactly what happened. You have the floor. You have the opportunity. I've given you this platform. Here's your shot to clear the air. So let's see.
It's actually a couple of companies. So there's an introducing broker-dealer called Robinhood Financial, and that basically is the app that you know and love. It processes trades. You're a customer of Robinhood Financial. Then there's a clearing broker-dealer, Robinhood Securities, that clears and settles the trades. And then we have Robinhood Crypto, which is our crypto business. All of these are kind of different entities that are differently operated. So basically Wednesday of last week, we just had, unprecedented volume, unprecedented load on the system. A lot of these, so-called meme stocks were going viral on social media, and people were joining Robinhood, and there was a lot of net buy activity on them, as you guys all know. And Robinhood at this time, I think, was #1 on the iOS App Store, and pretty close, if not #1 on Google Play as well. So just unprecedented activity.
Yeah, again, Elon's like, yeah, man, like cut to the chase. Let's hear what was going on. Robinhood had all this activity, #1 on the Play Store. We know, man. We know people were flooding the platform. We know this. Everyone wanted to buy GameStop. We need you to tell us why you didn't let them buy GameStop. That's all we want. That's all Elon wants. Just cut to the chase, man.
And so Thursday morning, right? So I'm sleeping, but at 3:30 a.m. Pacific, our operations team receives a file from the NSCC, which is the National Securities Clearing Corporation. So basically, as a broker, as a clearing broker, and this is where Robinhood Securities comes in, we have to put up money to the NSCC based on some factors, including things like the volatility of the trading activity, concentration into certain securities.
So here he's talking about basically collateral requirements that are required to be made with basically the counterparties that are involved with the financial system when it comes to trading stocks and stuff like that. You're not dealing with just Robinhood when you buy a stock. You're dealing with a bunch of different steps of the process in the financial system who basically handle the transaction from basically saying, okay, if you're buying shares, I need to take your money and then give it to the person who you're buying the shares from. And then I need to take those shares and make sure that they end up in your possession. So there's clearinghouses involved. There's an entity called the DTCC involved. And this is a lot of stuff that I am personally learning a lot more about because I didn't know very much about basically the plumbing that exists inside of the financial system that's kind of in the background that handles a massive amount of work that happens in the stock market. And I think we all collectively are learning a lot more about this plumbing, and we're starting to question, is this plumbing A, transparent? Is it secure for these types of events? Can it handle this? Or were we close to actually breaking the plumbing of the stock market and causing a potential massive catastrophe? And I think we also want to know who controls and who decides the collateral requirements that entities like the DTCC put up. And when they basically introduce new collateral requirements, are those changes announced to everyone in the stock market so that we're all aware of this? Or are they only announced to certain players? Because if you increase the collateral required for a stock from 1 to 5%, like it usually is, if you increase that to 100% required, well, now you have a situation where a lot of brokers are going to stop trading that stock, right? Because they don't want to put up that much of their own money. That puts themselves at risk. So by raising that collateral, that you're going to limit purchases of that stock. And if you don't communicate that to the public, to everyone participating in the market, you effectively give any insiders who have that information, you give them an edge. And guess who probably got that information while the public didn't? Hedge funds, brokerage firms, they were notified of that, but we weren't. That to me seems like a problem with the process there, with the plumbing of the internals of the stock market.
They gave us a file with the deposit, and the request was around $3 billion, which is, about an order of magnitude more than what it typically is, right? So
no, why was that so high? Like, this seems like it sounds like this is an unprecedented increase in demand for capital. What formula did they use to calculate that?
Well, and just to give context, Robinhood up until that point has raised, a little bit, around $2 billion in total venture capital.
By the way, sorry to pause that there. Today it was just announced they had to raise an additional $2 billion. So remember last week how they were talking about not having liquidity issues and all that stuff? Well, it looks like they've raised more billions of dollars. Again, I think what everybody's looking for is just a bit more transparency and openness about, what exactly is going on with Robinhood. I think that's all we want to know.
Up until now. So it's a big number, like $3 billion is a large number, right? So basically the details are, we don't have the full details. It's a little bit of an opaque formula, but there's a component called the VAR of it, which is value at risk. And that's based on kind of some fairly quantitative things, although it's not fully transparent. So there are ways to reverse engineer it, but it's not kind of publicly shared.
So I think he's pointing out that like the internal plumbing that I keep talking about of the stock market is so esoteric that I think very few people truly understand it. And to me, that poses a huge risk to everyone involved in the stock market. If we all don't fully understand what's going on behind the scenes, then we might not know what kind of systemic risks are posed to the actual system. And also, we might not be able to kind of see into this opaqueness, see into this darkness enough to be able to understand if any ever nefarious activities going on, any kind of manipulation on this kind of shadowy back end of the stock market where the plumbing takes place. And see, this is the problem here. I think this is the point that Elon's trying to get to. He's trying to say, okay, well, listen, man, like all everybody wants to know is, did anything shady go on? And I understand that Vlad's trying to explain it, but I think he needs to speak at a higher level, at a more kind of first principles, basic level to the people that are listening, because they're not going to understand all this kind of esoteric terminology going on, and Vlad's getting kind of lost in the weeds trying to explain it here. I think we just want a straight answer.
Is anyone holding you hostage right now?
No, I'm
okay. Who controls this organization, this clearinghouse?
It's a consortium. It's not quite a government agency. I don't really know the details of all of that.
See what I mean? Even Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, doesn't fully understand this back end of the stock market. And again, I don't think a lot of people do. And I think we're all collectively learning about this together and realizing, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we should take a look at kind of this back-end plumbing system we have for the stock market and get a better idea of what's going on here, because it seems like it almost fell apart. But the fact that he doesn't even really understand, and Elon asked that great question, who owns and controls, the NSCC or the DTCC, these corporations who do a lot of the clearing for stocks.
All right, so it sounds like this organization, it calls you up and they basically have a gun to your head, either hand over this money or else. And so, because basically what people are wondering is did you sell your clients down the river, or do you have no choice? And if you had no choice, that's understandable. But then, we got to find out why you had no choice, and who are these people that are saying you have no choice?
Yeah, I think that's fair. We have to comply with these requirements. Financial institutions have requirements.
Dude, just he's asking you a straight answer. Did you sell your clients down the river, or whatever he said, or were you forced? Just start off by saying either yes or no. These kind of defensive answers just makes it look so much worse for you. Just be upfront. If you didn't sell your clients out, just say that. Just start with that. That's all everybody wants to hear. It would be really easy to just say that.
All right. Well, I guess people really just want to know, if you had no choice, then you had no choice. It's gun to the head situation. And, then that's understandable. but then whoever put that gun to your head should, be willing to answer to the public.
Yes, Elon's asking the right questions and pointing out the right things. If they were forced in this situation, gun to your head, then yeah, whoever put that gun to your head, we need to understand why. And so far, I don't know if we really do. Okay, so I think at this point, Elon had grilled him pretty good and asked, the tough questions, the questions that people wanted to hear answers for. And another funny thing I want to point out is that Elon's profile picture was the short shorts that he made. So he came on Clubhouse prepared, he really wanted to keep sticking it to the shorts because, in his past, he's had to fight against them relentlessly. So I think that's probably part of the big reason why he wanted to bring Vlad up to kind of, put him on the spot and ask him questions in front of everybody. And it seems like Robinhood didn't necessarily deliberately try and stop anybody from buying GameStop or other stocks because they were trying to help the short sellers. It seemed like this clearinghouse entity raised the capital requirements, which essentially prevented them from being able to do business in that way because they just did not have the capital required to meet those capital requirements. So I think Elon's asking the next question. It's kind of the next thing down the line that we need to figure out. Okay, who controls this entity? And when they decide to make decisions like raising the capital requirements, who gets notified of that? Because that absolutely affects the stock market, and all market participants should know about relevant information like that. And so that was an incredibly interesting development. That's part of the reason why I've been loving Clubhouse lately. If you're on there, definitely add me at steveantonioni. I believe there's a Clubhouse taking place with Kevin O'Leary and Anthony Pompliano, who you may know as Pomp, which should be really interesting. I'm sure they'll talk a lot about this as well. I believe it's at 9 p.m. Eastern time, so check that out. And yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was incredibly interesting, insightful in the current developments that are happening right now. And I hope that we keep asking the right questions and that we get some solid answers on all of this soon. Thanks for watching and see you guys again soon.